I'm Edie Lush, and I'm here inside the Hub Culture studio. The light is falling, the snow is falling, and I'm delighted to be here with Dan Buettner, explorer for National Geographic.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much for coming by.
My delight.
You look like a happy person.
I am happy.
So what is the secret to happiness?
Well, the biggest secret is living in the right place. If happiness were a cake recipe, and part of it is you need food and shelter and some education, some health care, you need to have meaningful work, you need to have the feeling of giving back. The most important ingredient in that recipe, the one with the most variance, is where you live. In other words, if you live in an unhappy place like Moldavia or Zimbabwe or Syria and move to a happy place like Denmark or Switzerland, within about a year you start reporting the happiness level of your adoptive home. So that's one secret. There's lots of them though.
So you have written a book, you've written an article for National Geographic on the happiest places in the world.
Yes.
Tell me about some of them.
So Blue Zones of Happiness is the name of my book. And I point out, first of all, when academically speaking, happiness is a meaningless term because you can't really measure it. But psychologists and sociologists can measure your life satisfaction, which is how you evaluate your life. They can measure your day-to-day positive emotions, which is how you experience your life. And they can measure purpose. And these surveys have been done in 153 countries, and when you aggregate them all and you do this statistical magic called a regression analysis, you can see what sorts of things favor these three varieties of happiness. And I try to tell you what you can do to be more happy in each of those areas and argue for a diversified and balanced portfolio when it comes to those three facets of happiness.
Okay, so it's a sense of purpose, a sense that you're going, so you know where you're going.
Yes, and that's measured by do you get to use your strengths to do what you do best every day? So you're a gifted interviewer and TV personality, and you get to do it. And if that's
that does make me happy,
and it's probably a big component of it. But if you had to work as a shoe salesman, even though you might make more money, you'd probably be less happy. So. Getting the right job is so important. Only about 30% of Americans actually like their jobs. So
interesting.
When you go to places like Denmark, which we studied for the magazine, the vast majority of people are doing a job they love. Not necessarily making peak amounts of money, but they're using their strengths every day.
So there's also something, so enjoying your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Looking, imagining that knowing that you have a sense of purpose.
Right.
And then also it's being able to look back at your accomplishments.
Exactly.
And tell me about Singapore.
Yes. So we profiled Singapore as the epitome of a place where people have a life satisfaction. So most of their happiness occurs in the rearview mirror. When they look back in their lives, they've gotten in the right school, done the right job, made enough money, their mothers are proud of them, their friends are impressed, and they look down the checklist, check, 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 yep, I'm happy. And that's actually very important. If you think you're happy, you actually are in a way.
Right.
But you also want to balance that with a day-to-day experience. For example, you may love to sit on your porch and drink beer, and that may make you happy on a day-to-day basis, but after doing that for a decade, you may look back in your life and not be so pleased with yourself.
Right.
So you want that diversified and balanced portfolio when it comes to happiness.
So what about Costa Rica? What makes Costa Rica happy?
Costa Rica's an extraordinary place. So we, in the highlands of the country, a place called Cartago, those people experience their lives day to day, higher quality than any place else in the world. And some of the reasons, first of all, 100% literacy. There's no army. So there's not one mother in the country that ever worries about sending her child off to die in some war. Every man, woman, and child in that country is guaranteed at least one visit a year to check on their health, so they catch disease before it's a big problem. People don't realize that happiness and health are intermingled. You can't pull them apart. You can't have one without the other. But most importantly, they value family and religion. Turns out no matter where you go in the world, religious people report higher happiness than non-religious people, and people who report family as a priority are also good. So those are their priorities, and they've set up their life so both of those are easy. But the most important one, the one that will most shock you, is the happiest people in the world socialize face to face like we're doing right now 6 to 7 hours a day, not Facebook or not
Right.
Twitter. Or,
Yep.
they're having meaningful conversations with the people they care about. And the way Costa Rica is set up, with its central market and its sidewalks and its condensed streets and its emphasis on social interaction, it's very easy for them to get that 6 or 7 hours. So socializing 6 or 7 hours may not be the best way to become a millionaire, but it's a
Right.
great way to enjoy your life on a day-to-day basis.
Quite a lot of what happens here, actually, and that's, I think, one of the reasons I love it. I'm so happy here is that I spend more than 6 or 7 hours talking to people every day.
Oh, this is the Olympics of
Of
great
talking.
conversation. Yeah.
One final question. You did some work previously on longevity, on
Yes.
people who lived the longest. And if you can draw any similarities between the two bits of research that you've done, what would it be?
Yes, so I also found the 5 areas around the world called blue zones. Blue zones areas where people live the longest. And the most important thing to remember with both longevity and happiness is that trying to pursue either one usually fails. Trying
Right.
to get on a diet, trying to get on an exercise program, trying to go, oh darn, I'm going to be happy today and I'm going to appreciate and have gratitude. Sometimes works in the short run, never works in the long run. The secret to both is to put yourself in an environment where healthy habits and the things we know make you happy ensue. So instead of pursuing happiness, live in an environment where it will ensue.
Wow. Thank you very much for stopping by
pleasure.
the Hub Culture Pavilion here in Davos. And I'm very happy to be Edie Lush.